Hi, this is Ahrendsen, and this summer I spent a lot of my time getting some lessons ready for the new science standards for third grade. Idaho has adopted some new science standards, and there was 12 areas that we're going to focus on. And so I've written lesson plans that will go along with them. Most of the lessons take 30 to 40 minutes. And I have made a pacing guide for these lessons so that you'll know which lessons to teach with which Nat Geo units. I aligned them with the Nat Geo units because so much of the information we teach in third grade is science. The lessons, you will find them in our group, our third grade group in Schoology. And the very beginning one talks about the pacing guide. All right, so it's a white folder. It says Science Standards Based Lesson Pacing Guide. So when you click into that, you will get a PDF that will show you the pacing. And there, like I said, there are 1 or 2 lessons per unit. And it tells you which week in the unit to teach it. If it doesn't list a unit and week, then it's not specific to our Nat Geo curriculum. Also, we have formulated a Seca Test, and the test will be given as a pre-test and a post-test. And it is on the district's website, Performance Matters. It's an online test. It is graded automatically. It needs to be given before you start the science lessons. So give it in August and then again in May. There are no science lessons in the pacing guide for August and May. But if you get behind, May could be a catch-up. There's also 1 or 2 units that you'll be teaching that only have 1 lesson. So you could make up some lessons there if you get behind. Most lessons have a link for a video link. That's very engaging to students, and it leads right into what you'll be talking about. If you click on a folder of the lesson plan, if you can see the resources when you click into the third grade course, the folder for science is the black folder at the bottom. And then each lesson standard will have its own folder and its own color. When you click into them, it will show you the different lessons that you'll be teaching. For instance, in Earth Systems, we have a lesson on weather and climate and then one on climate zones. It's very good to preview your lesson, even though it's quite scripted when you get into it. All the lesson plans have a title. They tell you which unit, if it's applicable to that, and how long it will take you. Over on this side, they've listed all the materials I've listed all the materials you'll need. The standards are listed. And then up here in learning objectives, this is actually wrong. That's your learning objective, sorry. Students, it talks about the learning objective that's linked to this standard. There's an introduction to engage the students. And it's a question, sometimes it's media, or we activate prior knowledge. There's a video link here, so you'll probably want to have the lesson plan up on your desk as you're teaching so you can quickly link into the video. Then the instruction is next. It talks about how the instruction will be given, what you need to highlight, what you need to make sure and talk about. Many of these lessons go along with one of our Nat Geo science readers. This one, for instance, is linked to the science reader Wicked Weather. And you'll see that over here in the materials section. Also, there's another copy that's in the same folder for the graphing weather. So this particular lesson will have the kids for 2 weeks tracking the weather in Idaho, in Rexburg, and also another location that you choose. So I have done this type of a weather graphing lesson with my third graders for many years. And it's interesting to either pick a place that has weather very similar to ours. Sometimes we've done Boise or a location in Utah, but it's also fun to pick a place that doesn't have maybe winter weather like we do. And hopefully it's explained on the graph how to use it. And there's instructions here. You can always email me as well. And then down at the bottom of each lesson plan, I've added an assessment. So the assessment for this one is just to have the kids write 2 things that they can observe from looking at their graph and record a prediction for the weather for the next week after they've finished the graph for 2 weeks. And then the suggested grading is a participation point of 10 points for each student who turns this in. In the past, I haven't been very easygoing on kids. I just make sure that they do it. And if they don't do it, I have them get with a friend and fill it out if they've missed a day for tracking the weather. And I just make sure they do it. So hopefully everybody will get the participation points. Some of the assessments on some of the lessons that I have done are, there's a quiz, sometimes there is an exit ticket. And I've provided all of these things. Also, some different technology things that they can do on their Chromebooks. One thing that we want you all to know is this is a learning year, a starting year. It's the first year that we're incorporating these science standards into 3rd grade. So keep a note. If you see mistakes in the lesson plans, send me that and I'll go in and change. Also, we want to keep notes about what worked good and what didn't. We want this to be tailored to the students so that they can be successful on our Seca Test. And they will have learned the science standards that the state has put out for 3rd grade. So don't worry, you're not going to offend me if you say, hey, I have this idea and this might work better, because next year we can totally revamp and put things in that we like better. This year I tried to keep it quite simple. There's not a lot of elaborate experiments or a lot of time taken getting things set up, because we've got to ease into this. I know it's adding one more thing to your plate, and we haven't really mandated teaching science before, so we want to make sure that it's going to be, everybody's going to be able to be successful and feel like they were able to incorporate the science into their curriculum. Also, I wanted to put a little plug in for in-service. They are going to be offering a Performance Matters training, and it would be great for you to go to that, because that is how you'll be accessing the Seca Test for science, but also for math. I know Angie put in our math Seca, and that's going to be very advantageous for all of us to do it through Performance Matters, because it will grade it for us. If you're like me, I was carrying around those 6-page math Secas for about 2 months after the beginning of the year, trying to get those all graded. That's all I have. I hope you're excited about me to start teaching science in your classroom. I know kids love science. They're excited about it, and I feel like the standards the state has picked are just right on our grade level, fun things that the kids will enjoy learning. So thank you.